if we're doing our Weimar analogies, the Nazis were on their way out, actually. They were on the decline when they got really fucking lucky with the Reichstag fire. I bring that up because it's like the same principle, right? It's the same idea that you ride this wave of populism, of nationalistic fervor, really inflammatory rhetoric and all that. But the problem is that you raise people's expectations to unrealistic heights. Who knows? Maybe something like this might help them push some conspiracy that makes them all go crazy. Like, how did this happen to Trump, but not to Hunter Biden? And Trump would never commit a crime. Never happened. All right, listen the fuck up, idiots. Okay. So as you guys may well know, a long time ago, Trump had an affair of sorts with a pop star called Stormy Daniels. That's the news. Trump put his willy in a woman. As he was running for president in 2016, he decided that he didn't want the public to know that he had put his willy in a woman. He didn't want people to know that. The reason he didn't want people to know that is because he was trying to be president. And as we know, Republican voters, specifically Trump voters, are men and women of character, of pride and dignity, respect. So Trump was worried that had news gotten out that he put his willy in a woman, might have hurt his election chances, you know? So he pays her $130,000 to stay quiet about the fact that he put his willy in a woman. And he didn't want to leave a paper trail, obviously. So he decided to launder this money by falsifying business records to let the money go under the radar. Didn't work, obviously, because he has spent the last 6 weeks defending himself in court. And just a bit over half an hour ago, Trump was found guilty by a jury of his peers in Manhattan.
I'm gonna come.
On all 34 counts for falsifying records because he paid a woman $130,000 so that she wouldn't say that Trump put his willy in her. That's impressive, isn't it? So Trump is the first ever United States president in the admittedly short history of this country to be convicted of a crime. Isn't it so ironic that had he not done this, the Stormy Daniels story would have just been another grab him by the fanny or fucking any of the other stupid shit that he said that he got away with? But his efforts to hide this, his fairly impressive efforts to hide this, his expensive efforts to hide this, have resulted in him getting his first ever criminal conviction for a U.S. president. Former U.S. president. So there we go. We're not going to hear the sentencing yet. That's coming like a bit later. Trump has said that the trial is corrupt, rigged, fake news, George Soros, space lady. I don't know. Will he get jail time? I don't think it's likely. So the problem is, and I guess they're going to have to figure this out fairly quickly, is what do you do when a former president commits a crime and gets found guilty on 34 counts? Because even if it's a crime that carries potential jail time, you can't just jail a former president because there's no facilities that are designed to take in a former president. We haven't done it before. So we don't know. Is he going to get would they build a new prison? Are they just going to fine him? Are they going to make him pick up litter? I wish they did that. Are we going to see him in an orange jumpsuit delivering the next, he'll still run for president, if he's in jail. It'll be him and whoever his running mate is delivering their campaign messages from opposite sides of the glass with the little telephones, and Trump in his orange jumpsuit. They might have to get him conjugal visits just so him and his running mate can be in the same room together. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine him and that Trump has to get a conjugal leave so that he can go and debate Biden? How frustrating would that be? Anyway, Trump's found guilty. That's got to suck. It's a shame, isn't it? What is this? What's CBS even saying?
Bring them back with them. There will be questions on just how they arrived at their verdict. There is a lot here. I'm not convinced that any will take the day, but I do think that they are not frivolous arguments.
Carolyn, thank you. I just want to share with you what we're hearing from our Pat Milton, a producer out there, is that as soon as the verdict was released, the NYPD dramatically increased their presence there. You may have been able to hear as Robert Costa was speaking, or Errol Barnett, the NYPD helicopters flying overhead of the courthouse. Streets all locked down there. I think you still see the president's motorcade there. That's the shot there. There's some 100 mixed onlookers, protesters, supporters. There are Trump supporters there wearing red MAGA hats. They are gathered. So it is quite the scene in Manhattan there for this historic verdict. just to remind everyone, just a short time ago, learning that this jury of 12 were unanimous in convicting Donald Trump on all 34 counts.
Questions will be asked about how the jury arrived at that verdict, the 12 of them. Communist subversion? BLM gangsters? Israel? Do you think? Is he finally cooked, or will Teflon Don prevail? But I don't know. Oh, the Mexicans. Don't forget those guys.
Now, on July 11th, that date's significant, certainly, as he will become a convicted felon just 4 days before the Republican National Convention. And Major, I'm wondering what happens now in the next couple of weeks. Donald Trump can now campaign freely, which he has had trouble doing because he has had to appear in court every day.
Right.
So he can travel the country. We don't know what will happen on July 11th, but if he sends to probation, he could still be out there on the campaign trail.
He could still be out on the campaign trail, providing it's approved through
34 felonies. I heard from a federal prosecutor that the option of jailing him has been taken into account and that he could be put in a facility. What? Like Alcatraz. We put him in Alcatraz. Well, we just find a state that's abolished the death penalty and stick him in one of the chairs. Just don't turn it on. Just put him in the chair and just leave him sitting there. Put him on Old Sparky. Oh, did my mic cut out? I said Alcatraz. I don't even know if Alcatraz is still running, but if it's a facility that's not getting used, it's not. Okay, so Alcatraz is a candidate. Okay. It has tours now. Is that incompatible, though? Couldn't they just put him in one of the rooms and just make him part of the tour? They double the revenue. Triple. Quintuple.
fraudulent offense former president is occupied every single day of this trial. And it now takes on greater significance because, in his rhetoric, what I foretold has now happened, and I will campaign on that basis.
I want to bring in Ed O'Keefe, who is at the White House and has traveled recently with President Biden out on the campaign trail. What are you hearing from Biden's advisors?
Nora, we've just gotten off the phone with White House and campaign officials who tell us we will not see or hear from the president for the remainder of today. He remains at his home in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, with his family privately marking the death of his son, Beau. Campaign aides stress that the reaction to this, whatever it looks like in the coming days, is expected to be modest because it is their view, based on polling done by us, by other news organizations, by the campaign, that this is not going to move large blocks of voters in battleground states in any real measurable way, that opinions on the former president are pretty much baked in. And to that point, we saw just minutes after this verdict, the former president send an appeal to his supporters to donate to his campaign, calling him a, quote, political prisoner. We saw the current president use his Twitter or X account to blast out a fundraising appeal to his supporters, saying this will all be determined in November. And so both of these campaigns now are preparing for just that. In the case of the Biden campaign, he was in Philadelphia yesterday speaking about the economy, trying to sustain support with black voters. And aides that I was just speaking with remind us the plan is to keep focused on issues like access to abortion rights, corporate greed. You're going into the month of June, so you're dealing with a lot of anniversaries around mass shootings, and that's expected to be part of his focus. And on the world stage, he'll be in France and Italy.
Do you think there might be significant violence from his supporters? I don't know. After January 6th, and after being, I don't know, I feel like the Trump movement is just getting deflated. I feel like if I've learned anything from the Weimar Republic, if I've learned anything from watching vaush streams, it's that people like Trump, they only have a very small window of opportunity because people who are big fucking like charismatic leaders and polemicists or whatever the they, like really lots and lots of talk, no substance. Like if people like that, I think they only get a small window of opportunity before people just get bored of them, or before the raised expectations just kind of like don't match the reality and everyone knows it. It must just get tiring. But I don't know. It's like that does happen, but even then, people can do things to boost their popularity, or things can happen to them that boost their popularity out of nowhere. So But if we're doing our Weimar analogies, the Nazis were on their way out, actually. They were on their way, they were on the decline when they got really fucking lucky with the Reichstag fire and the shenanigans of the German conservatives. They lost like 2 million votes between the last two fair and free elections in Germany, and they almost went bankrupt as well. So, but I bring that up because it's like the same principle, right? It's the same idea that you ride this wave of populism, of nationalistic fervor, of like really inflammatory rhetoric and all that, because it raises. But the problem is that you raise people's expectations to unrealistic heights, and once you've been around long enough and those expectations are not met by anything realistically, you're kind of fucked. It's not necessarily going to be the same with Trump, but I do think in terms of like the fervor and the like how animated his voters are, I think that it does seem like they are just going to get deflated. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe something like this might help them push some conspiracy that makes them all go crazy, like some crazy injustice. Like, how did this happen to Trump, but not to Hunter Biden, and by extension, Joe Biden? Yeah. Are you in Israel? Have you heard about Faiza Shaheen or Avi versus History Speaks? No, I've not heard of either of those things. Did Avi and History Speaks fight again? I don't mind History Speaks. Like, I don't think he's as I don't think he's as dumb as other people make him out to be. He's just very intense. He's a lot. You're too nice. Why is that too nice? That's not too nice. Okay. He seems more reasonable than he was made out to be. I don't know. Let's not get into that right now. Starmer's a disgrace. Probably. Jordan Victor, thanks for $10. I thought you would be with Destiny on a plane right now. If you're with him right now, can you get him on stream? I think he's in the shower right now, so this would be a very inappropriate time for me to get him on stream. How much in donos to get your lad out? $500. I'm not letting him on without $500. How was anything else yesterday? It was fun. I enjoyed it. Why aren't you doing it? Let's see what Fox News has to say about it. Come on, Fox. Make me proud. Getaway cars. He's already fleeing the verdict.
The question is, was the statute vague? Did it give Trump enough notice? That's something that they've argued from the outset, and I think they're going to continue to argue on appeal. With respect to what the jurors were thinking, I really think the question and the readback was telling. It had nothing to do with necessarily the records themselves, whether they were false or not. We didn't hear about all this discussion of whether a verbal retainer is permitted in the state of New York or did it have to be a written one, and how these were categorized. We're really hearing from Pecker, and Pecker ties Trump to the intent. He's the one that allows us to get in the former president's head, because aside from the
this is what I mean. If this had happened like 4 years ago, it would have been like Sean Hannity screaming from the fucking rooftops about corruption. They'd bring Glenn Beck one more time for his fucking blackboard theory. But yeah, these guys, they don't give a fuck anymore. I don't know. That's my very, very fucking rash conclusion. But this is it. I don't know why they had to show the footage of him fleeing the country. This is definitely the Mexican highway, right? This is the highway that takes you from New York to Mexico. Oh, what will your next orders be to us, and when after ordering us to influence the jury to convict Trump? Good one to stump. Trying to get me arrested. Trying to get me locked up next to Mr. Trump. Can that be $500 accumulative? Yeah, go for it. I'm not asking. Yeah, of course. I'm modest. What we got? Listen, if this ends with me sharing a cell with Mr. Trump, I will be pretty fucking mad. Okay. Guilty. What is everyone else saying? What? MSNBC. Oh, ABC. They're taking the numbers right now. Okay.
Is, but they were instructed not to bring their political
Lock
opinions into that
Lock
courtroom.
him up.
They were also instructed not to base their verdict solely on the testimony of Michael Cohen, who has become such an extraordinary lightning rod, certainly in this case, and the judge telling them there must be corroborating evidence of a magnitude that would allow you to come up with the decision that they came up with today. John Carl, Michael Cohen has put out a statement.
Yeah, Michael Cohen has just put out a statement, David, and it reads, "Today is an important day for accountability and the rule of law. While it has been a difficult journey, For me and my family, the truth always matters. So Michael Cohen, who we just heard in the closing statements by the defense in this case, Donald Trump's attorney call the gloat, the greatest liar of all time. Their entirety, I mean, the major thrust of the defense was that the central witness in this case, Michael Cohen, was a convicted liar, was somebody who simply could not be trusted. The jury didn't have to rely entirely on Michael Cohen's testimony, David, but Michael Cohen clearly was at the center of the prosecution's case. It was Michael Cohen who made the hush money payments to Stormy Daniels. It was Michael Cohen who was, now the jury has determined, reimbursed by the president, the former president of the United States, Donald Trump. And Michael Cohen now, in a rather...
Okay, Banana Republic is a popular one. Okay, Banana Republic. Okay, let's await that one. MAGA tears. Okay, lock him up. Okay, obviously, yeah. Bro, Trump would never commit a crime. Never happen.
Statement from Michael Cohen saying that this is a day where Donald Trump finally faced accountability.
Michael Cohen, who testified he took out a home equity loan on his own home to make that payment. And John, it was striking that the prosecution in their closing sort of took on that point, fully aware that the defense had basically called him the MVP of lying, the greatest liar of all time. The prosecution then telling those jurors in their closing arguments, listen, we didn't pick him up at the witness door. He wouldn't have been our choice. He was the choice of the former president to be his fixer and his lawyer.
And they made the point that that's exactly why Donald Trump hired him in the first place, because he was somebody, the prosecution argued, who would lie on Donald Trump's behalf, who would do anything on Donald Trump's behalf. Such was his loyalty to Trump. Cohen once famously said that he would be willing to take a bullet for Donald Trump. But when the prosecutors started honing in on Michael Cohen and on these hush money payments, it was Michael Cohen who was actually prosecuted first, not entirely for what happened with Stormy Daniels, but in part for what happened with these payments to Stormy Daniels. And Michael Cohen served time in a federal penitentiary in time.
You're stumped, thanks for the 10 euros. But if you get put in prison with Trump, you could do a prison stream with him, and you would also have to do a prison gym stream and show us your gains. Listen, they're all about the balance, though.
Long before Donald Trump was ever indicted for anything, Michael Cohen, who I believe the evidence is quite strong, believed he deserved a pardon from Donald Trump, never got that pardon from Donald Trump. And when Michael Cohen was prosecuted for this and Trump didn't do anything to help him out, Michael Cohen turned hard against the man that he had served so loyally. And that was part of the defense's case, was this is somebody who is out to get Donald Trump, who wants revenge. And frankly, David, I think the evidence and the prosecution basically acknowledged this in their arguments, their closing arguments. The evidence was there. Michael Cohen did want revenge, but the prosecution made the case.
I will say this is probably the least impressive police chase I've ever seen. This is exactly how I'd expect a Trump escape plan to go, though. Hobbling away in the traffic, rolling around. Celebrating this is really petty. It's a good thing. I'm really goddamn petty. Yeah. Well, what are you watching on? This is on MSNBC. They've got like 60,000 people watching this one now. No, is this ABC or MS? No, this is ABC. Yeah, sorry. He's not actually trying to escape. It's a fucking joke. Of course he's not trying to escape. We can only hope. I think the jury are either about to, or they've just around this time given out their verdicts, like verbally. And then after that, it's going to be the 11th of July. The 11th of July when the sentencing comes. So, I mean, we know that he's guilty of like fucking federal shit, so he's a felony charges. But the likelihood of him getting jail, I'd say, is pretty low. But he's going to get something. Look at their chat. The chat is very funny, yes. Felony, not, federal. Yeah, sorry. I got those words mixed up because I'm not American. Stupid fuck. I want to be excited for his sentencing. Yeah, because when the sentencing's read out, he's going to be in the court, right? And you're going to see his face and shit. That'll be good. That's worth it. Something to look forward to. Oh, it's in July. I'm sorry. Yeah, so it's a while. It's like a month and a bit. Why do they need so long to figure out that? Yeah. Why the low likelihoods? Because proportionate to the charges, it's not just that it's proportionate to the charges because it's like felony counts, but it's also the fact that he's a former president, and a former president's never been jailed before. Like, I don't know. I just not really going to want to have to try and figure out. And he's old. It could be all of them, though, right? What if it's like Netanyahu, the Hamas leaders, Yoav Gallant, fucking Donald Trump? Just stick them all in a room together. Possible. I'm not against it. The other question is, what if he runs? There's just so many practical reasons. So, like, if he's in prison, then you also have to contend with the fact that you've got a presidential candidate running from prison. And then if he becomes president, like someone who is currently president serving from jail, like, yeah, there's just not gonna. I don't think they're gonna go in that direction. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. Are you in Israel? Yeah, I'm on the plane actually. This is what my seat looks like on the plane. This is box class. They just stick you in a box. Nice decorated one. Giga first class. So first class, they don't even have a number for it. Okay. Join Pondering Politics for coverage. Bro, I'm probably going to go soon. I have to eat. Is he streaming it now, though? I wonder if he's streaming it. Yeah, he's got 1,000 viewers. Good stuff. Good lad. What's he saying?
Did for the state of Delaware and the people of the Delmarva area. Like, no, it's ridiculous.
Oh,
Well,
he's
like
there with
even this,
Dylan.
right? Yeah, no, a great point. I mean, like, not there's this idea that because you know have your name on a high rise or on a building that exceeds a certain number of stories, that certain judicial and legal consideration should be granted. It's stupid stuff. And yeah, to your point, Joe Biden has had decades of public service, and if he ever tried to cite that as a reason to either not prosecute him or to exonerate him after prosecution or to go lenient with the sentencing, those same people on the five would be laughing and mocking the notion. But because it's their special boy Trump, it's very different. And that's why I say, I think it's so important.
As a black man from the hood, part of me likes Trump more now. He's experienced the sometimes corrupt justice system himself now. Criminal justice reform. Okay. Listen, as much as I'd love to enjoy the rest of this with 1,400 cunts, I'm gonna need to go, man. This is a short stream. I got a lot of preparation to do. I gotta eat. I gotta fucking make sure I fucking fucked all my T's and fisted all my I's. I don't know. Rip. Meanwhile, okay, I'm gonna go to the West Bank and ask fucking terrorists what their favorite anime is and if they've ever had a cheeseburger before, okay? Love you guys. Bye.